And we are going to get started here. I just want to thank you all for coming. I will hand it off to Logan here. I'll introduce him first. This is Logan Anderson we have. Logan, if you want to give us a wave.
Hello.
And he reached out to Kara actually because he wanted to become engaged and give you guys a really unique opportunity to have one of his services that he does for his clients. He owns a small business out in eastern Iowa. He can, of course, tell you all about that, but let's all give a big thank you to Logan for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, well, I'll get started here. So I appreciate the introduction, Lexi, and I appreciate just Special Olympics Iowa hosting this for me. And as she said, my name is Logan Anderson, and I'm the owner of All Strong Fitness, LLC. It's a health and wellness service in Eastern Iowa that works with individuals with special needs. The reason why I kind of got into this realm of work, I guess you could say, throughout college, I did some part-time work working at homes with individuals with special needs. So I did kind of some cares, whether it was helping cooking, cleaning, or bathing. Just being overall somebody that advocates and works with these individuals. And then I realized in working with them so much that they didn't have a lot of opportunity to improve their health and wellness. A lot of them sat around, very sedentary, and for a lot of them, they just didn't know how to get started and what to do. So that's kind of why I wanted to start this business and just offer that for this specific population. Throughout my time in college, I have worked with a wide variety of individuals when it comes to strength and conditioning, whether this was adolescent athletes, Division I athletes. I actually worked with the women's golf team at the University of Iowa, in addition to the men's baseball team. And also I've worked with senior citizens in doing health and wellness activities such as one-on-one fitness as well as group activities. So that kind of gives you a general framework of who I am and what I've done. If you're interested more about my business and what I do, feel free to go to allstrongfitness.org. It is on that worksheet that Lexi sent out, but if not, you can write that down. And we'll kind of get right into this. So that worksheet was sent out, but if you do just want to write on some pen and some paper or just listen, you don't need to write anything down, feel free. So we're going to start with why should we set goals for ourselves? So goal setting is something that's really important for not just athletics, but numerous different aspects of our life if we're trying to optimize and make the best world for ourselves. But for this webinar and Zoom meeting, we're going to kind of focus in more on the athletics and health and wellness aspect of goal setting. So the first bullet point I have is that goals are important for long and short-term success. So that's going to be your first bullet you can write down. Goals are important for long and short-term success. Now, when we're doing goal setting, long-term goals give us something to work towards. A lot of times when we're working towards a goal, we kind of get caught up in things and don't have that thing all the way out in the end that we really want to work towards. And having that really long-term goal can help keep us motivated for it. Short-term goals are just as important because they help us reach those long-term goals. A lot of times we kind of get demotivated because that long-term goal seems like it's way, way out there, but having short-term goals can help keep us focus on reaching that long-term goal. Moving on to the second point, goals keep you motivated. I kind of mentioned this in the last portion, talking about the importance of long and short-term goals, but goals keep you motivated. A lot of times when we're doing any type of athletic or health and wellness related
They
events,
said I don't have to write this stuff down. I don't
No,
think I'm,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Is there?
after this
just
after
you-
this
just you
section,
or
we'll
others?
have time for questions too. So you can ask me anything if you have any questions.
Yeah, I'm- It's like
Um,
not fast enough.
Right.
Okay.
right.
So when we're talking about goals keeping us motivated, a lot of times people fall off from goals when they're staying fit because they just can't simply stay motivated. So having these goals for us are really important in that aspect. The third point is that goals remind you of where you started. For a lot of us, when we're moving through our fitness and athletic goals, we don't remember where we started. So this gives us a good framework of tracking progress. If one of your goals was to increase the amount of push-ups you did and you only started at one push-up, it's a good reminder that, hey, I just started at one push-up, but now I can do 10. So it kind of gives you that, again, more motivation. And then the last point of why we should set goals for ourselves is that goals help focus your attention. So a lot of times when we set goals for ourselves, when it comes to athletics or health and wellness opportunities, that means that a lot of us will have numerous different goals, and this can kind of fluster our brain and offer too many different things for us to process. So having a specific goal for us to focus on really allows us to dedicate full energy to that one goal. So then we don't use all our energy on a bunch of different goals that lead to nothing. So that's kind of the first portion of why we should set goals for ourselves. I'm going to open up the floor to anyone who has any questions on that. I know we kind of went through that a little fast. So feel free if you have any questions to ask me now.
The last one is goals help focus on you on what?
Goals help focus your attention. Goals help focus your attention.
I don't
Yep.
know that how to spell that word.
It's ATTENTION.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Yep, goals help focus your attention. And remember, that's because having numerous different things when it comes to our goals kind of makes it cloudy for us and it doesn't make it as efficient for us. If we focus our goals on one specific thing, we can put all our energy into getting the best result for that. Does anyone else have any questions for the first section?
Can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yep.
Oh, there you are. I agree with you on this one. I like the fact that you said that during the goal setting, it does focus you on what you need to do because it shows you what your strengths are. And if you break it down easily that way, it'll help you,
Excuse me.
like, you know, with, for example, like the push up, like you said, like it's good to start out with one at first. Like, don't overdo yourself, but see how much you can do first and get the motivation, show your abilities and show who you are, you know.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah, no, a lot of times the goal is a good thing for us to start with too, because as you said, it does give you that motivation and it does help you realize that, you know, maybe this goal I set for myself was even too easy and I kind of undershot my expectations of myself as well. So that was a good point. I'm glad you added that.
Yeah, it's good to have good endurance.
Absolutely. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any other questions for the first section?
Just to let you guys know, I will be having meds delivered to me, so if I have to leave, that's why.
No problem.
So,
Well,
No
if we
problem.
have
Thank
two
you.
goals,
Yep.
well, if we have two goals, but we've been involved with them two goals for so long.
So I would I would come back to kind of what are the two goals, and for you, I would maybe think of which one's more important right now and just try to dedicate on that one, because you might be in a place where having two different goals is kind of making it difficult for you to make progress on either. So instead, maybe focus your attention a little more heavily on one and then come back to the other one once that
Yeah,
first goal is completed, or you're making progress on it and feel like you could add another goal.
because I've been doing this since high school and I've been out 20 plus years.
Sure. Yeah. So again, I find whatever goal for you is more important. Whether it's a weight loss goal or a fitness goal, maybe it's an unhealthy habit you're wanting to try to shake off. I would focus more on that specific goal. And then once you kind of get some leeway and progress on that one, then you could think about implementing another goal.
I lost 25 pounds, 30 pounds with one of my goals. I did Weight Watchers and I'm pretty darn proud of myself. I feel so much younger and I'm excited to see what this year's goal is going to be for 2021.
That's awesome. That's really good. It's amazing how just losing a
you.
few pounds off your body really can
It makes you feel
improve your
so
feeling.
young.
Absolutely.
I've lost 4 pounds.
Good. Very awesome. So
Congrats.
we are going to move into the next section of the goal setting, and we're going to talk about two different types of goals. So the first type of goal we're going to look at is outcome goals. Outcome goals are what typically people think of when it comes to a goal. It's usually the big picture event, the end goal, something big and down the road. An example of this might be winning a Special Olympics track event, or running your first mile or 5K in a local race. These are wonderful things to work towards, but unfortunately, they're way down the road and not something that we can focus on right now. So, in other words, they're not really controllable and they're kind of out of our hands. We can't do a lot about it. What we can do, and we're going to look at the next type of goal, is work on our process goals. So, process goals actually help us to reach those outcome goals. Process goals are small behaviors that you can do every day that are going to help you in turn reach that outcome goal. So an example of a process goal that might help us win that track event in Special Olympics or run that 5K is trying to run for 10 minutes every single day. That's something that you can control and you can do technically today if you would like. And doing that over time will help you reach that overall goal of, again, competing in a track and field event or potentially running a 5K. Those are just two examples. You could probably think of a bunch of different ones. Another outcome goal that's really common is somebody wanting to lose a lot of weight. So an example of a process goal to help you with that is I want to eat more fruits and vegetables during breakfast. And in turn, your outcome goal from that will be I will lose weight from it. Okay. So those are kind of the two basic goals that I like to focus on and look at. Does anyone have any questions about the difference between outcome goals and process goals and kind of how we can use them?
Why is it that process goals are so much more successful than outcome goals?
So the process goals are really successful because normally when we're doing something, we want kind of that instant gratification. and we want to know we're doing something now that's going to, say, benefit us. Unfortunately, with outcome goals, we don't know what we're doing is benefiting us because it's so far out in the future. So focusing on this process goal or behavior that we do daily is something that basically keeps us, again, motivated to keep going towards that outcome goal.
So, how do I say this? How do you know that you're ready for the next part of this process? Because that's the trouble for me. Like, I know how to break it down and stuff, but how do you know when you're ready for the next step?
When you're ready to kind of go towards the outcome goal, or you're ready, what's an example of a process goal that you're working on right now?
So I know I'm working on an album, but for me, it was I wanted to lose 5 pounds 1 week, 10 pounds the next week. How do you know when you're ready to lose the 10 pounds that week when you're like, oh yeah, I did the 5 pounds? Like, how do you know when you're ready to do the next 5?
Yeah, so that's a great example. So what you're talking about is kind of an outcome goal. It's the big picture, it's the kind of the end goal for you of, I want to lose some weight regardless of how much it is. That's what you're trying to get out of it. You can't just lose 5-10 pounds today. It would be
Correct.
really unhealthy if you did. But for all intensive purposes, what you need to focus on is the small little behaviors that will help you reach towards losing 5 pounds or losing 10 pounds.
Correct.
So not
And how
so,
do you
go ahead.
exactly, like the small behaviors? How do you know you're ready for the next one? Like, how do you know you're ready for that next step of that outcome goal?
Yeah, so it's essentially just kind of going back to what your outcome goal is, and then how you can break that down. So for you example, you said losing 10 pounds, I think was one of the things you said. So losing 10 pounds will usually take, about 10 to 12 weeks, depending on who you're talking to. Losing roughly a pound a week is kind of a good gauge of what I recommend to people. So for you,
Yes.
what you would need to look at is, what am I doing daily that can help me lose the 1 pound week to week? So
Oh.
some stuff that you could do daily are consistently
Mhm.
exercising, making sure you get 30 minutes, maybe even more of exercise a day,
Correct.
increasing your fruit and vegetable intake, increasing your water intake. Those are just a few low-hanging fruit that can go a really long way. And those are
Mhm.
behaviors that you could do even right after this session. Doing those daily will help you doing your outcome goal, which is losing 10 pounds. You won't even need to think about actually looking at the numbers because it'll just be done for you. You'll just be going with the flow of things. You're going to focus on what you can control, in that eating healthily, exercising, and drinking a lot of water, and then just letting
Uh-huh.
the outcome goal kind of just happen naturally.
Awesome. That makes more sense.
Yep,
I have
absolutely.
a
Thank you.
question.
What about if you're trying to lose 3 pounds a month? Because if you have a hard time eating fruits and vegetables and you just exercise and drink tons of water, then it's a little hard.
Sure. So, what I would do is, you need to ask yourself kind of what's the difficult part of it. And for you, it seems like eating fruits and vegetables is difficult. So then, what are you kind of eating in place of those fruits and vegetables that might
Sweets.
be kind of, yeah, exactly. So, um, a good process goal for yourself to make sure that daily you're doing something to lose that 3 pounds is maybe to cut back on your sweet intake by half. So if normally you would have a cupcake for dinner, something you could easily do is cut the cupcake in half and try to just eat half of it. And then kind of working that as your daily goal to then in turn go forward for that. Does that kind of help a little bit?
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of times for health and wellness goals, it's finding the thing that's difficult for you and then finding little tweaks around it. I love sweets too, and I know that if I ate a bunch, I would become really unhealthy. So I have to limit myself, whether that means sharing some with my family, or one I typically do is just don't buy them. I keep them out of the house because if I don't have them in the house, I can't get them. If I really want a treat, maybe I'll go to McDonald's and get a ice cream cone or something. But yeah, that's kind of usually how I work with that.
Same here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because now my health is going down. I'm pre-diabetic and everything else, so
Mm.
that's
Yeah,
why I
so
thought
I
I'd
would
ask
say
you.
another, you could kind of work your diabetes into it too. You know, you probably know the things that help manage your blood sugar a little bit better. That is a
Mhm.
great process goal for you to do consistently. And it not only will improve your diabetic health, but it will improve probably your general feeling of goodness, and a lot of things. So, you know, usually something for diabetics is to limit the amount of refined sugar that they have. That'll help your health, but it'll also help your performance too. So, that's another thing that you can kind of go back to when you're trying to think about what goals do I want to do for myself.
So the process goal was to try to lose weight, like for 3 pounds every month was what?
So, your outcome goal, that's kind of the big picture of what you want to do. That is
Yeah,
that is the losing the weight, so losing 3 pounds. The process goal is something that you do consistently, either every day or every other day, to help you reach that outcome goal. So, for example, we said kind of increasing water intake, consistently exercising, and maybe trying to, for you, limit the sweets. So, maybe cutting the sweets in half from what we're normally doing. That's just an example, and you know it's different for everyone, but that's kind of what I would recommend to you.
okay.
Yep. So we're gonna move to the last, well, second to last portion of this, and this will hopefully answer a few more questions that people may have just about goal setting. And we're
And
gonna work through.
someone chatted on there about how did someone put in the chat a question. Did you see it?
Oh, I did not. Can the go? Oh, can the goals
There it
change
is.
from time to time? If you struggle on one, can you change it? Yes, absolutely. And I would recommend, oh, if you are stuck on a goal, identify what photo. Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. So if a goal is extremely difficult for you, we might not need to change it completely, but we might need to change the structure of the goal. And that's actually what we're going to go into next on kind of how to set up a good goal for yourself. So that was a good introduction to the next part. Thank you, whoever asked that. So setting up a goal
That
for
was
yourself.
Evan.
Thank you, Evan. Setting up a goal for yourself. So the way I kind of set up goals for myself is with a term called SMART goals. And SMART is just an acronym that kind of helps us break down different aspects of the goal. So the first part of SMART is the S, and that's going to be a specific part of the goal. Goals need to be specific, and these details in the goal will help kind of keep you focused on exactly what you need. So a lot of people are maybe they have some weight loss goals, and they just say, I want to lose weight. Unfortunately, you know, it's an okay goal, but it's not really specific. Do you want to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds? Do you want to lose a lot of weight? There's just kind of some extra substance that's needed to help keep you more focused. The next portion of SMART goals is the M, and that's where we're going to look at having a measurable goal. Now, usually when we're talking about a measurable goal, this is where we'll kind of add a number to the goal as a way for us to track our progress. And again, it can help keep you focused and show you where you've come from. So we'll use weight loss again. A good way to have a measurable goal is using a number of pounds we want to lose. So one we've used today, 3 pounds, somebody lost 30 pounds. Those are all kind of metrics or numbers that you can use to help show progress and to know if you're going either forward towards your goal or backwards, and you might need to tweak the goal a bit. But measurable goals are really important, because without that, there's no really way to tell if you completed your goal or not. Next, we're going to look at if the goal is achievable. And this is probably one of the most important ones. So the goal needs to be tough for yourself, slightly difficult, but not too tough to the point where you're not able to even complete the goal. So I'll give a really good example. A lot of people, when they're doing weight loss, they want to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. This isn't really something that's achievable for many people, and it's also really unhealthy. So instead, kind of look at your current level and what you think that you can do, and maybe push yourself a little bit more. So if you can do 10 push-ups right now, it would be an achievable goal to say, I want to increase my push-ups by 2 push-ups. Very achievable, very doable, compared to, I can do 10 push-ups now, I want to be able to do 100 push-ups. That's not really something that's at least realistic now for yourself. So staying in your lane and finding an achievable goal is super, super important. The next part of SMART goal setting is the R. So an R, the goal needs to be relevant. This is where we kind of have to ask ourselves is, does the goal matter to me? And is it worthwhile to me? If a goal is not really going to offer you something that keeps you motivated or improve your life greatly, we really need to question why we're even starting that goal to begin with. So if you are, for example, at a healthy body weight, is losing 10 pounds really a good and worthwhile goal for you? Maybe you could focus on something that you have troubles with, such as increasing your water intake instead, rather. Because we know increasing our water intake helps keeps us hydrated, helps keep us from being constipated, and of course it helps with our athletic performance. So making sure that goal is relevant, making sure it matters to you is super, super important. Now, the last thing of goal setting is making sure the goal is time oriented. So time oriented goals basically mean that we need to set a time frame for the goal. This really helps in making sure that we stick to the goal and don't keep putting it off. If we want to run a mile and we just don't give ourselves a general time frame of, I want to run a mile in 3 months, we might just keep pushing it back and saying, oh, I can start it tomorrow, or oh, I can start it next month. Having a time-oriented goal is really important to stick with it. And I find this very important if I ever want to run in a race or something, because it helps really progress what my plan's going to be. So say I want to run a 5K in 3 months, I can then go back to my process goals and say, how will I get to that 5K in 3 months? I will run 3 days a week, which will in turn help me perform the best at that 5K. So Time-oriented goals, also very important. So again, for SMART goals, the S is specific, M is measurable, A is an achievable goal, R is relevant, and T is time-oriented. I believe somebody put that in the chat and I appreciate it. Thank you. So feel free to write those down. Does anyone have any questions when it comes to the SMART goals and kind of those different aspects of it?
Yeah, I couldn't spell them, so that's why she did that for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that
And it's
helped
a
me
good
out a
reminder
lot.
too. It kind of helps. It kind of helps build that acronym, so it's a little easier to follow, I think.
Yeah.
For the motivation one in time,
Mhm.
what if you want to set a time but and be motivated at the same time, but you want to achieve a goal to get something from that?
So the time aspect of it is just saying that you're going to have a specific, basically a specific date on the calendar that you want to complete this goal by. So instead of just saying I want to complete a goal generally, you're going to say, well, let's use the new year for example. By the end of December, I want to lose 3 pounds. So by the end of December, that's your time. So having a specific date or maybe a specific amount of weeks or days, that's kind of the time-oriented aspect of it.
Okay.
And then what was, I think that was kind of a two-part question. What was the,
Because actually, there's two things I want to quit
sure.
by the end of next year. Because I want to achieve a goal to get something for the fire department I'm on, but I want to quit one of the two things to be able to stay healthy for my niece and nephew to be able to play with them longer.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of looking back to is the goal achievable, I think is really important in this one. If you've been doing whatever you're trying to quit, if you've been doing it for a while, it may not be achievable to be able to do it in a month if you've been doing that habit or whatever for a really long time. So kind of having some self-talk about, you know, what do I think is achievable? Maybe it'll be instead of by the end of the year, which is only a month, maybe it'll be three months, 4 months, maybe even 5 months. And doing that's really important because it doesn't put too much pressure on you to need to get that goal done now. Because you might be feeling that is, you know, I need, you know, if I set this goal for myself, I need to get it done instantly. So the time oriented part of it and the achievable part of the goal is kind of together, and just kind of something to think about.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, you know, whatever goal you set for yourself, just make it doable for you. Don't think too hard about it. You know, we all need to be working on goals, and you can always work on your goals. So say it seems like it's too hard, you can always kind of change the goal a little bit and work on it as you go. It isn't something that needs to be set in stone. And in fact, I find that changing my goal as I go helps to focus it even more. So
Can I make a comment?
absolutely.
For James, maybe if it's a habit of something like maybe you drink 2 Cokes a day, maybe instead of drinking 2 sodas a day, you try to reduce that and have, you know, so many extra bottles of water and 1 less soda a day. Or, you know, whatever it is that you're having a hard time with, whatever your habit is, just reduce it, try to on a daily basis. Maybe that would help.
Mine was smoking more.
Okay, so smoking less. So, yeah, so,
Cigarettes.
I like
right.
I like Rhonda's idea though, and the reduction aspect. That was kind of something we talked about. I can't remember who the individual was, but we talked. Can't remember which one. I apologize,
We're
but we
talking
talked
with
about
Heather.
cutting Heather.
I don't
Heather, I
know.
believe, yep.
Heather, about cutting the cupcakes in half. So that's a great
Yeah,
example.
that was her.
Another way you can also work on kind of cutting out bad things when it comes to habits are trying to substitute it with something else that's not so bad. So maybe it's kind of that constant fixation of having something in your mouth. So maybe whenever you get the craving for gum, or excuse me, the craving for a cigarette, try to chew some gum. Or
That's what my
potentially go
dad
for a walk.
does. He
Yeah.
used to smoke and he chews gum.
Yep. So
Good for you.
absolutely. Yeah. So finding things that are easy for you to do. Again, it's the really small changes and understanding that we're not all perfect and we're gonna mess up sometimes, and that's totally okay. But when you are motivated to kind of work on that goal that you're doing, go for it and give it your best shot.
And also, if you're really, really craving for one, do something with your hands, or do some, or sing, do dance or something. Get your mind off that cigarette,
Exactly.
because eventually it's going to get cold and it's going to start snowing, depending on where you live.
Exactly.
I'm actually about a half an hour north of you.
Oh
I'm in
wow.
Nashport.
I'm in Grimes.
Yeah.
Because that's what I tell my friends, and that's my coping skills, and it really helps.
I agree.
Nice. Very good. Well, we're going to move into the last portion of the goal setting aspect of this. And I'm just have basically one goal, and we're going to kind of change it from an okay goal into a SMART goal. So the goal that I made was I want to do more sit-ups. Now, the goal itself is not, again, not a bad goal, but there's some things we can do to this goal to increase the likelihood that we're going to actually improve and work upon it. So the first thing that I would say is we need to make this goal measurable. Right now, I am just saying that I want to do more sit-ups. I don't say how many more sit-ups, and I think that's a really crucial part of it. So let's say that right now I can do 10 sit-ups. So we're going to change my goal to make it measurable to I want to do 15 sit-ups. Okay. So that makes it a little more specific, but also measurable. When we're talking about if the goal is achievable, we need to look back at the initial part of the goal. So for myself, I said that right now I can do 10 sit-ups. So for me, wanting to increase that to 15 sit-ups, that's a pretty achievable goal. 5 extra sit-ups over, a few weeks or months, that's very doable for a lot of people. But again, maybe it isn't for you. You'll just kind of have to think about what your level is right now and what you think you could do. When it comes to is the goal relevant, does it matter to me? Is it worthwhile? For me, increasing my sit-ups is absolutely worthwhile because I know that having a strong core and tummy muscles will help a lot of my athletic performance and my athletic endeavors. As well as I just like being able to kind of push myself and make myself a little better. So the goal is absolutely relevant for me. And the last thing we can do to make the goal into a SMART goal is to make it time oriented. So we need to kind of make a general time frame for the goal. Increasing my sit-ups from 10 sit-ups to 15, it's hard to say how long that would take fully, but for this, we're going to say 2 months. So I want to do more sit-ups. So I want to increase my sit-ups from 10 to 15 in 2 months. So when we're looking at that goal, it's pretty good, but there's one last thing we need to do. And that is by adding a process goal to it. So what am I going to do every day or every other day to help me reach coming from 10 to 15 sit-ups. I'm going to practice doing sit-ups for 10 minutes every day to increase my sit-ups from 10 to 15 in 2 months. So there's kind of a lot going on there, but just remember, you want to pick a goal for yourself that's kind of somewhat long term, but you're able to do little things to reach that goal. So that's kind of the sit-up goal. You can apply that to a lot of things for health and fitness. You can apply it to things not related to health and fitness too. Maybe it's something at your job, saving more money. Goal setting's super important for a lot of different things. So that kind of finishes the goal setting portion of this. Does anyone have any questions just on goal setting in general, how it could be applied to their life, or just goals that they're kind of working on?
How do you know when you push yourself too hard versus how much you need? Like, how do you know if you push yourself too hard versus what you know is easy versus hard?
So this is where you really have to know yourself. And for some of us, we're go-getters and we want to go do
Yeah.
a million things and get it all done. And for others, you know, you might need a little bit, I would say, a more relaxed and focused approach. So looking at whatever your goal is, and then say after a couple weeks of it, asking yourself, you know, can I sustain this goal or does it need to be tweaked? I think it just goes with looking at your goal pretty consistently and kind of analyzing it and saying, hey, is this working for me? Or do I feel burnt out, tired, and I can't go any further? So just looking at your goal consistently and then trying to tweak it as needed.
Emily, I just want to throw in like an example of that. Like today, well, I guess after Thanksgiving, I made a goal for myself to exercise every day until Christmas. And maybe that's not specific enough.
Wow.
You should do it
Oh,
every other day, or do it like as much as you can, not just
Yeah,
till Christmas.
especially after yesterday, coming back from Thanksgiving, my body was not ready for working out or being that active every single day. So today I just ended up going on an hour-long walk, and that was my substitution. So I still did get my exercise in, but I wasn't doing as much as I had planned on, just because I knew if I did too much today, then tomorrow I would not feel well at all. And I think
yeah.
even if you have a singing goal, I know you sing a lot.
Right.
You're practicing so much, you lose your voice.
Oh gosh.
Time to take a day off. So then, if you notice your voice is getting a little bit scratchy, you take that day off. So then the next day, your practice can improve.
Or you can
Uh-huh.
do something else, something easy.
Yeah, it's always good to listen to your body. I think that's what Logan was driving home there.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I had a root canal done and I had to be careful what I did. So
Mhm.
I did some stuff around the apartment, but I took it easy as much as I could.
Same here.
Absolutely. And you know, I will say too, there'll be a lot of times in your daily life where stuff comes up and fitness probably isn't going to be the front runner. So you may have really high fitness goals for yourself, such as winning gold in a Special Olympics event. And
Yeah.
let's say, for example, well, COVID's a great example, actually. If all the gyms are closed in your surrounding area, well, shoot, you know, you don't completely scrap that goal, but maybe you kind of divert it from, I want to get gold in a Special Olympics event to, I want to maintain my fitness level right now. So then once I can train again, I can try to really push myself. Something that happens with health and fitness all the time is life. Whether it's someone passing away,
Oh yeah.
that's pretty common, where it'll kind of take people. Maybe you just broke up with a significant other. That's one that'll take a hit
Oh
on
yeah.
people too. A lot family issues, maybe a pet died.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that can kind of put goals on the back burner, and that's okay. You just might need to kind of look back at, okay, well, this happened. Now, how am I going to change my goal in the meantime? So working with what you have in life, and just moving forward.
True.
This year I found a lot of exercise and dance videos to do on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
YouTube is full of so many awesome free resources with that stuff, and there's
Yeah.
everything. Do you enjoy that? You enjoy?
Yeah,
That's
when
awesome.
I can't, yeah, when I make time for it.
Sure. And maybe that could be a goal for you, is trying to make more time for yourself. So if that is a struggle, you can say, I want to 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes, 3 days a week, watch a dancing or fitness video. That's a process goal that you can do very consistently to help you stay healthy long term. Just a really small behavior, but focusing on that little thing can help a lot overall. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Keep it up.
Is this website free?
My website.
Yeah.
So the website has information about my services. My services aren't free, but you are able to go on my website. It'll have my social media, which you can go follow. That's completely free. It has some cool stuff about me. You can learn some stuff
You're
like
awesome.
that. But yeah, feel free. allstrongfitness.org. That's the website. And that should be on the top of the goal setting page too, if you're interested.
Yeah, it's on here.
Okay, awesome. So,
And Heather, I think after this, even if you have any lingering questions, if you get in contact with us, I'm sure Logan would be more than happy to answer any afterthoughts or questions that you might come up with in the next few days if you're really struggling.
Okay.
Would you do that, Logan?
absolutely.
Awesome.
Woohoo.
Because I know there'll be stuff that comes out of this. There'll probably be something that I think about tonight. I'm like, man, I wish I would have said that. So I totally get that. and
True.
feel-
Mhm.
Usually I email those guys and ask them questions, so to help me out.
Absolutely. That's what
I
I'm
can
here for.
understand.
So.
Mhm.
Well, I appreciate your time. I was going to do a little bit something else, but this kind of ran a little longer than I thought, which is totally okay. I hope I helped some of you guys kind of tweak your goals a little bit. I guess in summary, just make a goal that's realistic and doable for yourself, but pushes yourself a little bit. And it's okay to kind of tinker with your goal through time. That's something that everyone does, including me. And setting up goals are super important for everything in life. So go set some goals, especially for the new year.
Woo. Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
Well,
you so
thank
much.
you, Logan. I think this is a perfect time of year to hear these things, because especially right in the middle of holiday season, it may or may not look very different for you this time of year, but I think health is always a really, really good area to focus in, especially as it gets cold outside. It's harder to get outside and get exercise, for me anyway. That's what I've
Oh
heard
yeah.
of you all too. So this is really great to hear. It puts everything down on a plan. Thank you everyone for coming, and thank you, Logan, for all of the great information you provided.
You helped me out
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
All right, have a good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Good luck, see.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Ugh.
Thank you, learned a lot.